Are we ready? You want to go ahead? Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to King Middle School's Go Team meeting, where we'll follow the agenda as it's been emailed to you and publicly noticed. Mr. Mulholland, can you put the agenda up on the screen?
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I'm pleased to call this meeting of the King Middle School Go Team to order at 5:04 p.m. Our first order of business is to call the roll. The secretary will now take roll.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please respond present when your name is called. Okay, Barbara Shea.
Present.
Louis Carty. Rebecca Wallace.
Present.
Constance Franklin.
I am present, even though the participant list doesn't say Constance. I was trying to figure out how to change it, and I'm driving, and that's why my camera's off, shuffling kids to soccer practice, but I'm here.
Okay, I can change your name here to Constance.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amaryllis Jones.
Present, and I too am driving, taking my little one to soccer practice as well, but I'm here.
Rashad Mulholland, myself, I am present. Bodisha Ridley. Okay, Vince Thomas.
Present.
Okay. And then, excuse me, Ms. Jacoby, would I say the names of the people who we are nominating now, or no, I just stick with the members?
No, you just stick with the current members and the current roster.
Okay.
So Carty, Wallace, Franklin, Jones, Mulholland, Ridley, and Thomas.
Yes.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. So there is a quorum present, so we may continue, Ms. Shea.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on.
Oh, let me see.
Hold on. Okay. So now we have to approve the agenda. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. It's on the screen. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
This is Vince Thomas. I'd like to make a motion to
I
approve
motion
the
to
agenda.
Okay, and then there's a second as well, obviously.
I'll second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. The secretary, okay, that's you, Mr. I'm sorry. Our first order of business is to approve the previous minutes from our last meeting. We will review and approve the minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you, and they are, of course, on our webpage as well. If there's, are there any corrections, anything that people see that we're here from the last meeting that needs to be changed or corrected? May I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
This is Vince Thomas, and I make a motion to approve the previous minutes.
May I have a second?
And I second the motion.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Anyone abstain, please say abstain.
I'll abstain.
Okay.
I wasn't there. So.
Okay. Okay, additional action items. Okay. Our first action item on the agenda is to fill vacant positions. We have a couple of vacant positions this year. do I hear a motion to approve this? I have to do this though, right? We need to fill the open community member seat. And that was the seat held by Dr. Hackett. And last year was his last year on our Go team. And I would like to make a nomination to put in that seat Devontae Phillips, who is our Communities in School site coordinator. We have a relationship with Communities in Schools, and we are lucky enough to have him with us this year at King. He does not work for the Atlanta Public Schools. He is an employee of Communities in Schools. And I would like to put his name up for the community member seat. Is there any discussion on this?
I would like to make a motion to approve Mr. Phillips.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second. It's Rebecca Wallace.
Thank you. Any opposed? Please forgive me, I'm reading this and trying to do it right. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. Our next open seat is the open swing seat, and that seat can be filled by a member of the King Middle School family, and I am nominating Ms. Kalisha George, media specialist at King Middle School, and the person who runs our after school all-stars program. If she would, if we can consider her for the swing seat. Her name is Kalisha George.
I move to approve.
Yeah. Well, I second.
Second, thank you. Any nays? Anybody say abstain? We have one last position to fill. The last vacant position is Mr. Cart's position. Mr. Cart is resigning from the King Go team because his child is now at Maynard and he wants to go over to Maynard's Go team. I am nominating Miss Tryon Brown, who is a parent here at King Middle School. She's a very active parent of a King Middle School student. She's extremely involved also in our after school all-stars program. Took part in many of the activities that the after school all-stars did last year virtually, because we didn't have a in-person program. She cares really very deeply about our community, our school, and she's looking for different ways to get involved. So I would like to recommend Ms. Tryon Brown to fill Mr. Cart's position.
I would like to make a motion to approve Ms. Brown.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, any nays, any opposition, any abstentions? Okay. Then I think we're in. Is that correct, Mr. Mulholland? Is that kind of where we are? Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is to review and approve the public comment format.
Ms. Shea, we skipped the election of officers.
Oh gosh, I sure did. I just ran right over it. So now we need to elect our officers for the current school year. Forgive me and forgive me again. We have the positions of chair, vice chair, secretary, and cluster representative. Do I have a person that would like to nominate someone to be the chair?
Just want to add that anyone in here can be the chair. So a parent, for example, Ms. Wallace, Ms. Brown, any one of you can serve as the chair.
Can I ask, not to jump ahead, but just in comparing the cluster representative, is that, I'm assuming, somebody that might attend cluster meetings on behalf of our Go team?
Yes.
I would like to do that. If anybody
Okay.
does it.
Okay.
But I
The,
don't want to jump.
Just,
So we'll
just
focus
really
on chair.
quickly, you can, the cluster representative can be a officer also. So the 3 officer positions are chair, vice chair, secretary, and then the cluster representative could also serve. You can be a chair, vice chair, secretary, and also serve as the cluster rep.
So you can be both. I like that. Okay, so can we start with a nomination for chair?
I nominate Miss George.
Is Miss George still on?
Yeah, but she's got a mask on, so I can't tell if she's smiling or not. She laughed.
She did. Do I have I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Do I have a motion for Miss George to be the chair of the Go team? Do I have a second?
I second.
Miss George, do you accept the nomination?
I am humbled and yes, I do accept. You're going to need to tell me what to do, but I will accept the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss George. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the Go team. Wonderful first day.
I'm like, didn't I just get voted on it? Okay.
Doesn't take long.
Excuse me. I can't run for anything, nor can I vote. So I'm just very happy for you there, Miss George. Now we have vice chair. Vice chair. Do I have a nomination for vice chair?
I think we have to still finish the motion in the second for Miss
Oh, we
George.
didn't. I heard a second. Didn't I hear a second?
I interrupted to make sure she wanted to do it.
Okay. Then I need a second. I thought Reverend Thomas, I thought, but go ahead.
Oh, I second that,
Yeah.
that motion.
Thank you. So does that motion carry? Let me see. Any abstentions? Any nays? Then I guess that motion carries. I hope I said that right, Ms. Jacoby. I think that motion carries that Ms. George would be the chair of the Go team this year.
Hey, Ms. Shea, can I jump in really quickly?
Absolutely, you can.
Someone just joined, Ms. Beth Hayden, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Beth Hayden, and I have a 6th grader and an 8th grader, Jonas and Eli, and have been hanging around King since back when Zeist had me as an AmeriCorps Vista doing community and parent engagement. So just love King.
Oh, thank you.
Glad to be here and participating.
Thank you.
And I used to teach middle school too, so it's sort of my wavelength.
Okay.
Smart.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mulholland. Our next election of officers will be the vice chair. Do I have a nomination for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Miss Beth. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name.
I'm not on Go team at this time, so
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That was a perfect.
it's all right though. Thank you.
But Ms. Ridley is just joining, and I would love to nominate Ms. Ridley as the vice chair.
And I just that motion.
Okay. Did somebody second that motion? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yes.
I second.
Okay, Miss Ridley, are you willing to accept the responsibility of being vice chair of Go team this year?
I didn't even know I got nominated. I'm so sorry.
It happened so fast.
It did. It was a whirlwind.
Oh, wow. Well, okay. And I apologize for being late. I thought it started at 5:30. I'm so sorry. Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ridley. Okay, our last position is secretary, and we need a motion or a nomination for secretary.
I would like to nominate Mr. Mulholland. I think he does an outstanding job with it. So I'd like to keep in line with that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Great choice. Mr. Mulholland, are you okay with being the secretary again this year?
If the wheel isn't broken, I am absolutely okay with it.
Okay, so any nays? Any abstaining? So I guess that motion is carried. So we have Ms. George as the chair, Ms. Ridley as the vice chair, Mr. Mulholland as our secretary. Now we do have the cluster representative, which you can be both things or you can be just one. Do I have a nomination for our cluster representative?
I would like to nominate Ms. Wallace to be our cluster representative. I don't know, but I think.
Yeah, I said I wanted to do that. So unless one of the other officers just wants to do both, I certainly would not step in, but I'm happy to do it.
Okay, great. Do I have a second?
I second the motion to Ms. Wallace.
I second.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Ms. Wallace, for being our cluster representative. This is wonderful. Okay, I guess we're on to the next thing. Please tell me if we're not, Mr. Mulholland. We're going to review and approve the public comment format. Mr. Mulholland, can you post that for me? And I'm going to just read it to you as it was written last year. We're going to look at the one that we had last year. Can you see it, Mr. Mulholland? Okay, he's trying to post it. I'm gonna read it. The Go team of King Middle School, ML King Junior Middle School encourages community members to attend our Go team meetings. Attending a meeting will allow you to become more familiar with academic and other programming available at the school and better understand the role of the Go team at King. Go team meetings are open to the public. Community members are welcome to attend the meetings, but must refrain from interrupting the Go team proceedings. There is, however, a time for public comments during the meeting, and the protocol is as follows. Sign up for public comment no later than 30 minutes prior to the start of the Go team meeting. To sign up, a Google form will be posted to the King Middle School website 1 day before the meeting. Comments must be no more than 2 minutes long. A timer will be used to monitor. Public comment will take place during the first 20 minutes of the meeting. If you'd like to share feedback or comments in writing to the Go team, please send them by email to tpmil4@gmail.com, but that's going to change this year to, who gets those minutes, those questions, Mr. Mulholland?
Chair.
The chair, so those now will go to kgeorge@atlanta.k12.ga.us, or they can be sent by U.S. mail to King Middle School Go Team, 545 Hill Street, Southeast Atlanta, 30312. That is the format we used last year. If you'd like to make any corrections or changes, now would be the time to discuss it. Anybody, can we approve this as our proposed public comment format that we will use this year?
Make a motion to approve the public comment.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a second? Okay, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute, Ms. Ridley. Yeah, I can read your lips, but you're still on mute, Ms. Ridley.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any nays? Anybody abstaining? So I believe we've approved the proposed public comment format for this year.
Ms. Shea, you're on mute.
Mute. Sorry. Thank you, Ms. Ridley. And I believe that motion was carried, and this will be our public comment format. Our next item on the agenda is to set our Go Team calendar. Our goal for this year is to not have a meeting at 5 o'clock because, well, it's hard and we barely get out of school at 5 o'clock here at King. So the only thing I would ask is that these meetings be a little bit later. Mr. Mulholland, would you like to grab a calendar and discuss proposed meeting dates?
I'll share the calendar now. Does anyone have a preferred date that they would just prefer, like a Wednesday or a Thursday? Start there.
Thursdays work better for me, Mr. Mulholland.
Thursdays. Is everyone okay with a Thursday? Yes, it looks like yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we said Thursdays, okay. And we need to have how many meetings a year, Mr. Jacoby? What did we say, Mr. Mulholland? 7?
You need to have at least 6.
At least 6. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, so I just pulled up a online calendar so we could just all see it at the same time. Do you guys prefer maybe something like every second Thursday of the month, or do you want to pick specific days? Where are we at? September. Do you want to choose a specific date for the month, or every second Thursday, every third Thursday? What is convenient for you all?
I don't mind the second Thursday of the month.
Okay. So that would mean our next meeting and every meeting moving forward would be, what is that, October 14th, November 11th. Is that a holiday? Why is it in red? It's not a holiday.
October 14th, aren't we out that day, or am I wrong?
Isn't that a break of some kind, Mr. Mulholland?
See.
Do you have a calendar? Can you pull up a calendar, the APS calendar, Miss?
Sure.
Somebody.
I believe that it's the week before is the fall break. That Thursday before that, I believe.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't
That's
sure.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that-
Now, November 11th is Veterans Day, but I don't know that it's I don't know that school is closed necessarily. I don't think it is.
I mean, it's really fine. It's really small. It's hard for you guys to see. So it says October 11th is, I didn't say October 11th. Let me, all right, so we said every second Thursday, right? So the next one will be October 14th. That's not a holiday. So everyone agrees to October 14th?
Okay.
Okay. Then November 11th. It's not a holiday or anything. Everyone's okay with November 11th? Okay. December 9th. And what was, I guess, it was, Mr. Thomas, do you remember if it was around Christmas time that we would skip that meeting or something because people would travel, or how?
I think December we'd skip. So I
Okay.
think the last meeting for the year is November.
Okay. So we won't have a December meeting. Let's go to January. Second Thursday. So January 13th. And I'll repeat the dates after to everyone. February 10th. March 10th. And then May 12th. So that gives us a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional meetings. And the one we're in now is the 7th meeting, the first meeting, right? So so the dates again, just so you guys can look at your calendars and just make sure you don't have any prior obligations. October 14th, November 11th, January 13th, February 10th, March 10th, and May 12th. Okay, and when I send the meeting minutes, I'll also highlight this so you can just also make another note and mark it.
And what time, Mr. Mulholland? What time?
What time is convenient for everyone? Not 5 o'clock, right? I see a lot of head shaking. So do we want to say 5:30 or 6? All right, how do you guys feel about 5:30?
5:30. I love 5:30. I'm sorry.
5:30 works.
Okay, 5:30 it is on those dates.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Mulholland?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the meeting norms.
Okay.
I know you're gonna, oh, there they are. So the initial GO team meeting norms are as follows. This is a meeting of the GO team. Only members of the team may participate in discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. We will be fully present. We will follow the agenda as noticed to the public and stay on task. We will be respectful of each other at all times. We will be open-minded. We will invite and welcome contributions from every member and listen to each other. We will respect ideas and assume good intentions. We will approach differences of opinion with curiosity. GO teams are encouraged to add or to otherwise modify these norms to align with the GO team's identity as a group supporting your school. Is there anything anyone would like to add to these norms or modify them in any way?
If it's appropriate for the norms, but I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I guess I have more of a question. Are we already planning on having all these calls, all these meetings via Zoom, or is this still just sort of the norm right now?
I'd say it's the norm right now. We certainly don't have to continue to have meetings on Zoom. I think that it's sort of, we're going to just see what the climate is as we go into each meeting and how comfortable people feel coming together. That's just my humble opinion. Other people may have an opinion, and please share it.
That's what I figured, but I just wanted to ask because it would be nice to have an in-person meeting every so often if possible, just because some of us, you know, we get zoomed out, Zoom fatigue. But I certainly agree. It's the normal thing right now, or it's the best thing right now for sure.
Yes, I mean, I know that in the case of the school building, we're just trying to limit people in our building. I'm just
That's right.
Be as honest as I can. But I'm certainly not opposed to having meetings in person at all. But right now, we're just trying to be as careful as we can be.
Gotcha.
Anything else? Anything else for the norms? If there's nothing else, I guess we move forward. Is that kind of how this works, Mr. Kobe?
Do we need to make a motion to approve these norms?
Yes, you need to make a motion, have it seconded and vote.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to approve our King Middle School GO team norms.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Do I have any abstentions or nays? I guess it passes. Thank you. Thank you. The next part of the meeting is the principal's report. Mr. Mulholland, can you put up the school, the strategic plan that we base our school improvement plan on? Can you put that up for just a second? And we have new people here, so they weren't really a part of when we created this last year. So I'm going to just briefly discuss it. It will be you can look at it at your leisure on the website. I can happily send it to anyone that wants it. But this is our strategic plan for King Middle School for the 2022 school year, 21-22, excuse me, school year. With our district mission and vision, our cluster mission and vision, and of course, our school mission and vision. With a caring culture of trust and collaboration, every student will graduate for college and career. High-performing school district where students love to learn, educators inspire. I'm not going to read all that. I'm going to just talk about some of the high points that sort of changed from last year, from the last time we had this conversation to now. We are using data for our school improvement plan based on 2019 district benchmark data and milestones data. That is the last year we had data of that kind, and that's the only real good data we have on our school as a whole. Most of our goals are based on that data. The goal of King Middle School is to grow children. We don't spend a lot of time talking about children that are moving from one level to another. Our goal is to grow the children that walk in the door. And so our percentages, we would like to see them grow in the area of English language arts and math. We have children who are economically disadvantaged. We have children who are Black. We have children who are white. We have ELL children. And we break down to our subgroups and look at where we need help and the things that we're going to focus on. Sadly, we haven't had a lot of data in the last 2 years, and we had to use old data to create our plan. Some of the things that we are doing extra and differently is providing more resources for our students. One of the things is USA Test Prep, something we did not have before, that we are using school-wide this year to reinforce skills. Could you go up a little bit, Mr. Mulholland? That, I'm sorry. Again, we're using our data from benchmarks and milestones. We're going to this year have a district universal screener, and I don't know how much you remember about, we did STAR testing every year. At the beginning of the year, we did it 3 times, and we probably did it the last 6 or 7 years. And that was the data we used to sort of create goals for our kids. We sat with the kids, we helped them create goals. We talked about the fact that this is where you are in reading, this is where you are in math, and we want to see growth. This year, the district has adopted a new universal screener called MAP. MAP is different this year because it's adaptive. So to explain that in a way, it's depending on your skill level, it'll take you longer to complete the test. So it's the kind of test that if you miss something, you miss 2 or 3 in a reading area, it will kind of back up a little bit to get to a place where you can be successful in answering questions. And then it will give us a level of where you are comfortably, and it gives us a place to start. We are in the process now of doing MAP. We have done MAP reading, and today we started MAP math. It can be a long test for kids, especially kids whose skill level is high, because the more they get right, the longer it takes. We had a conversation I did with the kids today about doing the best they could, that this is a test we use for information on how to best help them figure out where they might have some gaps in learning and figure out places where they excel and we can provide enrichment. We started reading last week. We are doing math this week, and we are looking to have data talks in the next several weeks with the students and with teachers. The other thing we are doing this year is using Read and Math 180 as our intervention plan. We at the Atlanta Public Schools feels like there is a lot of unfinished learning from our students. since many of them are just setting foot back in the building for the first time since we left in March of 20. And in doing that, we need to figure out where we have gaps in learning. So we are also having an intervention block every single day of the week, except Wednesday, when we will be doing social emotional learning. We are going to use the data from these tests, and these are also still in progress, to best put kids in groupings that will allow them to move at a level that they can all handle. The other thing is, if they test well in these areas, they will then move into an enrichment class. So you may have a student who has some gaps we see in math, but is a great reader. And if that's the case on the reading days, those students will be in an enrichment class, and other students will be in a class that will attend to the gaps in learning. This is a district-wide mandate. This is everyone in the district is using this. And we are using Reading and Math 180 first thing in the morning with all the students in our building, unless they qualify for enrichment. And we won't know that until we finish all the assessments. Can you keep going, Mr. Mulholland? Thank you. The other thing that's new this year, and I'm sort of covering both of my action items on this, is a universal behavioral and mental health screener. The district, this is also another district initiative, because we are feeling like many of our students, many people in our building have experienced lots of, I don't know if I want to use the word trauma, but many have experienced trauma. Many have lost family members during COVID. Many have just been stressed out by trying to learn at home, coming back to school. And so we're going to do a screener that will involve teachers, students, and parents. We will send something home. Parents will kind of give us some feedback on where they see their children using a Likert scale of, say, 1 to 5. And we will be able to look at that data and see where we have kids that we may need to pay some special attention to in the area of emotion and learning difficulties based on trauma. So this is just another way for us to get information on our babies that are just coming back to us. One of the things that's really significant, at least for me, is the fact that 6th graders haven't been in school since they were in 4th grade. And our 5th graders, of course, our 6th graders haven't been in, our 7th graders haven't been in school since they were in 5th grade. And this is a huge leap that they've taken to walk into King after being in an elementary setting for so long, that we know there's some frustration, some nerves, just some things that we want to make sure we are 100% on top of to the very best of our ability. And that includes all of our students, because they've really been through a lot. They've been through a lot, things that we don't even know, because they're very grateful just to be back in the building. So those are some of the brand new things we're doing this year. You can certainly read the strategic plan and our school improvement plan when that is published, but our school improvement plan is based on our strategic plan. The other thing, of course, that we're doing this year is, and I don't know how many people know, that we participated in writing a grant last year through Verizon. It was a nationwide search for schools that wanted to provide students with computers, and those computers will have all of the apps from the Atlanta Public School, all of the learning apps that our children require, and it will also have built-in internet for our kids. Because as much as we'd like to send computers home and know that kids can get on, we know that they can't. We know that we have a great deal of children in this building that do not have reliable internet, do not have any internet at all. So we participated in this grant. And when I say we, I mean all the middle schools in the Atlanta Public Schools. We all had to do the same thing for the grant, and then we had to turn it all in as a large group. And we competed against many, many schools in the country, and we won. We won the grant. We are not the only district, I'm sure, that won the grant, but we won the grant. And from what I understand, the computers from Verizon that will be given to our children are in the district right now as I speak. They are being updated with all the most current stuff that we need for our kids through my backpack. And once that is done, they will be delivered here to King and we will give them out. The computers we are using now are computers that have been given to us from the Atlanta Public Schools to replace all the computers that we gave away last year. And just to give you a picture of what that looks like, let's say we had 600 children here at King Middle School last year that needed a computer, and we gave out before it was over 1,500 computers because computers weren't always taken care of. Things happened, things broke, things needed to be replaced, and we cleaned ourselves out of computers and then got more from the district and continued to clean ourselves out. So the computers we have in the building right now are the computers given to us from Atlanta. They are not the computers that are slated to go home. They don't have the internet capabilities that the kids will need. They don't come with hotspots. So we have not given them out to go home because that's not the intention. But within the next 2 weeks, for those of you parents that have babies here, you should see a computer coming home. And the one thing that we're asking is that those computers are treated with respect because they won't be just replaced if they break. There's a huge agreement that the kids are making with Verizon. We've been going over it in school, and it's a wonderful thing because those computers, once they're in the hands of our students, stay in the hands of our students and go with them to high school, and will be maintained by Verizon for regular things that break. I don't know how much if they try to ward off a dog and kill it like they did last year when they had to bring a computer that was in 6 pieces because the dog was chasing them to school. I don't think they'll replace that one, but they will take care of the computers as long as our children do due diligence and take care of them themselves. So that's a big deal. It's exciting. We are just waiting here at King for delivery. And hopefully you'll see them come to your houses in the next week or two, and they will give our babies, in the event we have to go virtual, we will have a level playing field and students will be able to be students and participate in their Zoom classes as they were not ever 100% able to do a year ago. So that's kind of where we are with our school improvement plan and really also the intervention and universal screener. I will tell you that our enrollment at this time is 760 students. We were slated for 898 students. We are down about 130 students. We have not been told anything about leveling. We have not been told anything about losing people, gaining people. I don't have any information on that. As a matter of fact, we didn't even do our real numbers until 11 days in. So I think that the district is not surprised that some kids haven't come back to school or are going virtual. And so right now we're sitting at about 760 students. Anybody have a question for me? I'm a rookie at this, so please feel free to ask me if you have a question. Okay, so the next thing I need to talk about very briefly are the COVID protocols. I just want to make sure people understand that we are following the protocols from the Atlanta Public Schools, who get the protocols from the Department of Health and the CDC. And I will say that we are having COVID testing here every Monday for students and teachers. And APS has just instituted the mandatory staff surveillance testing, which will take place on Mondays with the kids and Thursdays staff only. So tomorrow will be our very first day of mandatory COVID testing for staff. In terms of the COVID protocols that we follow for children, I want to say the heaviest lift that we have every day is contact tracing when we find out a child is positive. And honestly, I'd say we have had perhaps 3 to 4 positive cases that we found out during COVID testing. And the rest of our cases have come from families that have called and said, I had it, now my child has it. And when they do that, we have to look and see when the last time the child was at school, and then we have to do contact tracing. When I say we do contact tracing, I'm going to let you know the administration does the contact tracing, because we don't need the teachers having to do that heavy lifting. The one thing that the teachers do to make contact tracing easier is have a seating chart in every single class, so that when we do have to do contact tracing, it's as easy as us going in there, looking at the seating chart, seeing who sits around that child, and contacting parents for close contact by phone. We don't just send a letter home, we contact every single parent if your child has been in close contact with a child that tested positive for COVID. If you did not have close contact, but you perhaps were in the classroom, your child will come home with a letter saying there was a child in his class that had COVID, but they were not in the area of that child. They don't sit near that child, and we just want you to monitor that child, but continue to send them to school. Are there any questions about COVID and COVID protocols for King? Ooh, that silence is nice, and I sure do appreciate it, because I spend most of my day answering these questions. I've already talked about the intervention and enrichment blocks, the universal screener, which is MAP, and I also talked about the behavior screener. Are there any extra announcements that anybody would like to make at this time? Anything that is for the good of the group?
So I do have one announcement for those of you that were on the team last year. You should have received today a number of emails from our office about Ellis, which is the new learning platform that we have for those online asynchronous parts of your training. The ethics is required every year for Go Team members. That's part of APS policy. And then the new member orientation, if you have not yet completed that, you would have been enrolled in that class. For our new members today, just to let you know that this week we have about 30 Go Teams meeting. So we're going to take care of that enrollment next week as one big one, rather than one-offs with every school. It will just be easier. So for all of our new Go Team members, please watch for that information next week. Thank you.
Okay, we have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? I just want to say before we go, if it's okay, that I am Barbara Shea, the interim principal here at King Middle School. This job has been posted for the new principal, and I don't have a timeline of when that will happen. But I do want you to know that that is still in the works and will happen. I know that people are applying, but I don't really know any more than that. But I just wanted to keep you up to date with what was going on in that area. This may be the only Go Team I get to do this for, and I appreciate everybody coming and taking part. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll move to adjourn.
A second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? You may raise your hand as well. This meeting is adjourned, and thank everybody for coming.
Thank you all.
Thank you. It is adjourned at 5:52 p.m. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Mulholland.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Good job, Ms. Jay.
Oh,
Thank you all. You all have a wonderful night.
Thank you.